Today I've got a sad video for you all, I'm sorry. Let's face it, we've known it for a while. Conan Exiles isn't going to get Necromancy. There's a slim chance that it might, but from what I can tell, us necromancers have been let down yet again. Let's start from the beginning. What was promised? Way back in a video that was released by Funcom on the 6th of March 2017. We were promised sorcery in Conan Exiles, which included necromancy. Here's the video of the poor guy making the hollow promises. I'll also put the link in below so you can watch the entire video if you want to. It's called The Future of Conan Exiles. This is probably some kind of future in an alternate timeline where stuff doesn't suck. So here's the poor fella. Go on mate, let's hear it.
Let's talk about sorcery. Sorcery is, in the Conan universe, sorcerers are always the bad guys. And in our game we wanted to facilitate that type of gameplay, but we wanted to make sure we captured the spirit of the Conan stories. So we have a corruption mechanic in the game right now. The more time you spend in the dark and evil places of the world, the more corrupted you become, the more sickly and twisted, the less health you have, the less strength you have, the more your statistics go down, the more squishy you become.
All of that sounds really great. Pretty in line with my idea of what makes Necromancer good. Please continue.
So in order to use the sorcery system in our game, you're going to first have to become very corrupted. And then you'll gain access to summoning rituals. You'll be able to call upon demons to do your bidding. You'll be able to shapeshift and take the form of demons. You'll be able to craft unique magical items using the sorcery system. And of course, necromancy, which is a favourite of mine, is the ability to replace your human thralls with skeletal thralls. You'll be able to kill things, bring them back from the dead, and then make their skeletons go to work for you.
So I mean, all of that sounds fantastic, but it's probably not going to happen. Now we'll move on to the end of Early Access, which was the 16th of February 2018. Their blog post shows that they cut sorcery and necromancy in order to improve the combat system instead. I can understand this decision in a way because the combat in the game was pretty damn lackluster and the update made it kind of nice. But you know what? If you'd have given me sorcery, it would have been better, Funcom, because then my minions would be doing the combat instead. I don't want to be fighting. My minions should be doing it for me. Well, that's the opinion of a necromancer and not the opinion of the majority, I'm sure. So I can understand why they'd prioritize the combat over the sorcery. But it's just a big shame for us. If we move further forward to the 6th of June 2018, which was just this month, they tell us some of the things that they're going to bring in the near future. Surprise, surprise, sorcery and necromancy are not on the list. Go figure. Oh, but would you look at that? Here they're telling us that we're going to get pets and taming. Apparently we've been waiting for it for a very long time. Well, that's a surprise for me because I've been waiting for sorcery and necromancy, not some lame-ass pets. If I wanted taming and pets, I'd go and play another game that's very similar to this one. It's called Ark. It already has taming and pets. They could have made Conan Exiles so much cooler by giving us sorcery, but instead we get this rubbish. Taming and pets. Ridiculous. How about demon summoning and undead minions, like you promised us ages ago? Yeah, that would have been really cool and kind of unique. What a joke. Seriously disappointing. There's only one thing on this list of new stuff that I like. The new god they're adding called Jebel Sarg. He's a legit badass. If you're interested in the lore behind him, go and read the short story written by Robert E. Howard called Beyond the Black River. To briefly explain without giving away too much and spoiling the story, the Pictish wilderness is untouched by civilization and inhabited by many prehistoric beasts no longer thought to exist and thought to be extinct. Yet there in the Pictish wilderness they still exist. Some of these animals and beasts remember an ancient time where Jebel Sarg reigned supreme and the beasts spoke his language. They're all connected via his ancient language and can communicate using it. Some Pictish wizards are capable of speaking this language and can communicate and control these ancient and evil animals. They're all kind of like in the Jebelsag hive mind. It's very cool stuff. Read the story because it's one of Howard's best stories in my opinion. So anyway, from what I can see, we'll probably have to rely on modders to get some kind of sorcery and necromancy into this game. Or maybe Funcom will do it later. I really hope so, but it's not looking good at the moment. If I'm wrong and you've seen something that seems to suggest otherwise, please let me know. I'd be interested to read it. Here's to hoping it gets implemented, because I really do like this game, but it'd just be so much better with sorcery and necromancy. Before I go, I have one last thing. It's a piece of The Scarlet Citadel, a short story written by Robert E. Howard that proves that necromancy has a very real place in the Conan universe. When the wizard Polias finds the dead dormant and reanimates him. Dead or alive, laughed Polias, he shall open the door for us. He clapped his hands sharply and cried, Rise, Shokeli, rise from hell, and rise from the bloody floor, and open the door for your masters. Rise, I say. An awful groan reverberated through the vaults. Conan's hair stood on end, and he felt a clammy sweat bead his hide. For the body of Shokeli stirred and moved, with infantile gropings of the fat hands. The laughter of Polias was merciless as a flint hatchet, as the form of the eunuch reeled upright, clutching at the bars of the grille.